I like to play a lot of video games. My favorite kind of games are the ones that go against the status quo of gaming to tell a truly engaging story. The kind of games that leave a special impact, something you don't get with most other experiences. You feel something different in these kinds of games. Immersion is no longer just a part of the game. It is the game. Every choice, every decision matters, but the masterful crafts of storytelling give you no choice. They deceive the player into believing their decision matters, and no games showcase this as well as these three games I will be covering in this video. So what is choice? There are two doors in front of you, left or right. That is your choice. The player can choose either door to go down. However, games that restrict choice often sway or convince the player to pick a specific door, or both doors lead to the same outcome. And trust me, this is not bad storytelling. This is a way to illustrate whatever message the game is trying to present. The Stanley Parable is an interesting case, as, on surface viewing, you have all the choice in the world when it comes to how the story plays out. Whether you play Firewatch, get told how you get no girls, travel through time with the push of a button, it all seems so expansive that the entire illusion of choice might not make that much sense. But the more you think, the more you realize you do exactly what the game wants you to do. In the Stanley Parable, you follow a man named Stanley, with a snarky narrator voicing your journey and poking fun at storytelling in video games, using funny cliches to make you laugh. There are countless endings and routes in this game, with so many secrets to explore. Now let's go back to the two-door scenario. What is the first thing you would do when presented with two doors? One leading down the narrator's path, or the rebellious one that could lead to who knows what? Seems clear that most people would choose to rebel against the narrator compared to listening to his orders, as every other ending, besides the intended game, requires you to not listen to an instruction by the narrator, a subtle way of guiding the player to try out new things without directly telling them. Give them a choice to make. Both lead down completely different routes, sure, but that's the point. Stanley Parable masters the art of choice to where the player feels rewarded for trying new things and choices and not forced to pick an outcome. Overall, the way this feeds back into the hilarious dialogue between the narrator and the player excels the engagement, as it allows the player to connect to the narrator, try out different choices, and see the multitude of endings. However, the illusion of choice is used positively in the Stanley Parable to make the player feel like they have authority, when the most strong uses of fake choices comes in those games manipulating or deceiving you, mainly the next two games being covered in this video, hence why the Stanley Parable section is shorter than the other two. In the most horrific and manipulative case, the most extreme example of the player having no authority over their decisions is Doki Doki Literature Club, a psychological nightmare where every decision is irrelevant and every path leads to the same ending, but in the perfect way possible. This is strangely great storytelling. This game acts as a facade with its cutesy music and visuals and turns into some messed up mental shit, which surprisingly makes for a good read. As yes, this is more a novel than a game. I mean, the gameplay speaks for itself. The story begins as a usual dating novel, impressing your crush, either Sayori, Natsuki, or Yuri, and writing poems after club time and growing closer to all the characters until... which, yeah. Now that psychological horror tag is really living up to its name. The game plays tricks on your mind and really fucks with your brain as glitches occur and the script and characters start falling apart. Characters like Yuri get more obsessive and unhinged. Glitches are abundant until you are met face to face with the antagonist of the game, Monica, talking to you directly. Yes, you, the player. As the player, you have no control over the story. Confess to Sayori or remain friends with her, she kills herself either way. Same with Yuri and Natsuki. You don't even get the choice. This is equally as true in every route when writing to specific characters, as it all confides to one ending. Just Monica. You are powerless in this situation. Nothing you do matters. Even deleting the quote-unquote villain of the game, Monica, the cycle continues itself through Sayori. The narrative gives you this false sense of agency, something you would have in most dating sims to cover up the eventual tragic outcome that is bound to occur, the death of all the club members. Even in arguments, no matter what choice you pick to impress one of the girls, it resolves itself and has no real impact on the narrative. Without true, meaningful choice, we are helpless to stop the following events, and as the game progresses, the MC has less and less dialogue, as if he has lost all control over the situation too. A subtle progression takes place when speaking to the player directly, and as we reach the final act of the game, we get to reflect on how important choice really is. In typical dating sims, the player seeks the romance, with the chosen character having no choice but to fall head over heels for you. However, this subversion of expectation is used to depict you as the romance, having no choice but to accept Monica's terms. Although, there is one instance where the player has a choice, and it is the most telling of them all. If the player decides to abuse saves to spend time with each of the girls and deleting Monica at the end, you are congratulated and the cycle is broken, with Sayori thanking the player for how considerate they are. This game shows just how important choice is in our world. We make so many small decisions that mean so little, but we have one substantial choice. The choice to make others happy. The one choice that truly matters is the most time-consuming and difficult, but it is also the most rewarding. The hardest choices you make matter the most, and that is exactly what Dan Salvato had in mind when creating DDLC.
You okay?
Do I look okay to you?
What happened to Lugo isn't our fault.
Don't tell me what I already know. Lugo's blood is on your hands, not mine. Bang.
Conrad deserves to die, you know that.
And what do we deserve?
I think we both know the answer to that.
Spec Ops: The Line is an ethical limbo hellscape when playing it. After receiving small successes after the release, the game never really blew up. Sure, it was incredibly well received, but the most popular this game ever became is from the countless amounts of documentaries on the absurd nature of this title. I'll link some deep analyses in the description below, as this is more of a surface level exploration, as I'm primarily covering the main topic of this video, which is choice. But there are a lot of other videos that cover this as a whole. But as a quick rundown, you are tasked with scouting the remains of Dubai in search for the 33rd. At some point, you go rogue and try to uncover the secrets of this wasteland and the involvement of the 33rd. This game manipulates you to be the bad person, without you even realizing, as the longer you continue, the more split you are on if what you're doing is morally right, and subtle clues point towards things not quite being what they seem.
This isn't right. Well, it's too late now. No, I mean, we did this already. What do you mean? Fuck it. It's nothing. Just
But
shake
it
these
all
fucking
comes to a
guys.
head in Chapter 8. The character you play as, Martin Walker, has to use white phosphorus to destroy an enemy base, a substance shown earlier to devastate anything it touches. One of your sidekicks argue against it, but you are given no choice. You use the white phosphorus and...
Are those civilians? Where'd they come from? There's no camp here.
They took him from the nest.
That hotel back at the storm wall? No, those can't be the civvies that got kidnapped. It's not possible.
Yeah, it is. That's why Gould stormed this place. He didn't want the gate. He was trying to rescue his people.
This is your fault, goddammit! Stop right there, Lugo. What it is, he wouldn't listen. Have a choice. He turned us into fucking cowards. That's enough, Sergeant. No.
We, as the player, unknowingly killed a base filled with survivors thought to be our enemies. Walker reassures our conscience though, and we move forward, starting a snowballing effect on what we believe to be morally justified. As long as we are heroes in the end, it doesn't matter what it took to get there. You don't mean any of the harm you inflict, and it's for the greater good, right? There's another quote-unquote choice when it comes to a certain man named Gould. He was captured and he could provide useful information needed to progress with your mission, but civilians are in danger too. You could either save the civilians or save Gould. The civilians provide no benefit and Gould is guaranteed to die. Or save Gould and leave the civilians to die, but surprisingly, both options result in Gould dying. The whole choice is a morality check on if you believe the ends justify the means. And that's what I believe to be the primary message of the line, although there are a ton of other messages in the story. The game also deliberately lies to you about the choices you have, specifically in two scenes, the first of which involves two men hanging from a rope. There are armed snipers nearby to make sure you only pick one who lives and one who dies. A civilian who stole water or a criminal who killed the family of the other. The choice seems obvious, but you secretly have the option to shoot at the snipers or attempt to let both go, which ultimately results in their death either way, but as you find out at the end of the game, this was never a choice to begin with. It was all a hallucination. They were both dead to begin with. Your decision meant nothing. The same takes place at this scene later on in the game. Your close friend Lugo was hung and murdered by civilians. You have armed weapons and they have nothing. And the game says nothing. It lets you choose what you think is right. Most people would mow down the crowds with their guns, but a secret option is to shoot warning shots at the sky to get them wrong. Both achieve the same outcome. One just showcases your mentality much more than the other. The most interesting case, in my opinion, involves Riggs, a CIA soldier and someone who tricks you into cutting off all of the water supply in Dubai, an unforgivable act of crime against humanity. But you get vengeance as a truck lands on him, and in the debris he asks you of one thing: to kill him quickly with the gun next to him, or you can let him burn and pay for what he's done in a more gruesome way. This is like the last scene, but is more morally grey, as it depends on if the player believes in karma or mercy. a deviation of ethical decisions that the game is directly trying to get you to choose upon. This choice, again, means absolutely nothing. The story doesn't change, only subtle hauntings of your choice carry onwards. Spec Ops: The Line was so masterfully crafted to reveal the viewpoint of one's mind, and Walker manages to keep you reassured that what you're doing is the right thing to do. But these excuses become more and more absurd to the point of insanity to not admit what he has done. At what point have you really crossed the line? At what point should you stop destroying the lives of those innocent people? The most important part of the game comes in this next part. This isn't about Walker. This isn't about the villain. This is about you.
Open your eyes, Walker. I need you to see what you've done. Dubai should have died long ago. We were ordered to abandon these people. Instead, we chose damnation.
Not all of us.
What? Who's there?
One of your victims. One who was just following orders.
You gave us no choice.
There was always a choice. You just fucked it up.
I mean, we tried to save you.
Deep down, you knew we all had to die.
This wasn't my fault.
Captain,
Lugo.
help. There were over 5,000 people alive in Dubai the day before you arrived. How many are alive today, I wonder? How many will be alive tomorrow? I thought my duty was to protect this city from the storm. I was wrong. I have to protect it from you.
At the end of the game, you have been revealed to be hallucinating, projecting the blame onto others the whole time. You couldn't live with yourself, so you cast it on another. But he was dead weeks before you arrived. All of this blood is on your hands, and the game asks you one important question. What do you deserve? Ultimately, the decision to either accept or neglect your actions doesn't mean anything. You kill yourself now, or let yourself live. You go back home, or fight until your last breath. You are forever going to be living in hell. After all,
What was it like? How'd you survive all this?
Who said I did?
to recap everything I discussed, choice is not just a part of a game. It is a tool, and master developers and story writers manipulate this to mold their reality, whether for comedy, horror, or a rich psychological deep dive into a man not built for heroism. This is truly a spectacle to witness, and when done right, it is amazing. To sum everything up in one simple sentence, all I have is this.
Shit does. You know we
Might
can't
not have
use
a
it.
choice, Lugo.
There's always a choice.
No. There's really not.
Thank you so much for this new experimental video I made. I put a lot of effort into editing and scripting this video, so I wanted to thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch what I have created. If this video gets enough recognition, I will continue to make documentaries on things I deem worthy of production. But that's all from me. Be sure to like and subscribe and check out my other videos. Thanks for watching.